everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 250. We are 50 episodes away from the 300th episode. Crazy sauce. Welcome to the podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, hand-dyeing yarn, sewing, and making all the things in Brooklyn, New York, where I'm from and I live with my husband Dennis and our adorable cat Bella. And as always, I'm so happy that you're taking some time out of your day to chat about those things with me. And yeah, a couple of announcements before I get into what I've been making this week. As I mentioned in the last episode, I will be vending at Indie Untangled next Friday, October 20th. It's a trunk show that happens the weekend of Rhinebeck weekend up in Dutchess County, New York, Hudson Valley. The trunk show is actually in Kingston, New York, so not too far away from the fairgrounds, but it's that Friday. So if you're going to be in the area that night, I hope you stop by, say hello. It's gonna be a madhouse, but so much fun. This is gonna be my second year of vending, so please, please, please do stop by, say hi, and yeah, feel up some of my yarn. Anyway, I've been prepping like a mad woman for this trunk show for the past 2 weeks, so one more week to go. I am hoping to have quite a lot of yarn for the show, so if you've been keeping up with my Vlogtober series on YouTube, you have a pretty good idea of what it's like to prep for a trunk show, or basically what a day in the life of Kristen is, dyeing yarn every day. So that's been a lot of fun to do. If you're not familiar with what Vlogtober is, every day for the month of October, I will be publishing a vlog, just basically a little I would say like lately they've been about 3 minutes long, just little snippets of my day, sharing some little snippets from my daily life, if that makes any sense. So anyway, just really fun, quick videos. And it has definitely been a challenge, like putting up a video every single day. So, but I love that. I really, really do enjoy that kind of a challenge, especially coming from a video editing background. It kind of really gives me a refresher, if that makes any sense. I should mention that Vlogtober is a little more casual, less produced than this setup right here. So it's more just like little clips from, you know, throughout the day. But anyway, here's where I get to just jazz things up a little bit and have a cohesive storyline, like a little bit longer storyline for you guys. But anyway, I'm back with another episode this week, and I have some stuff to share with you. So let's get into what I've been making. All right, so speaking of Rhinebeck, let's talk about my Rhinebeck sweater, Shelley. The Damiaka Lopa, a wonderful, beautiful pattern by Pinay Guri, and here is where I am with it. I'm co-hosting this knit along with Ellie of Skate Deer Knits, another awesome podcast. I love Ellie, she's awesome. Check her out if you haven't already, but she already finished hers. She finished hers like 2 months ago, so I'm way behind, but the knit along is still going on. The deadline is October 31st, which is Halloween if you celebrate. I celebrate hardcore, which I'll talk about later, but anyway, I'm making progress. I've been slow but steady progress on it. I'm on the sleeve. I finished knitting the ribbing for the waistband, and now I'm just working on the first sleeve. And my hope was to knit the sleeves concurrently, but I think the way I'm gonna go is I'm just gonna knit one sleeve at a time, because I feel like if I cast this one on, it's just gonna be a slog. So I'd rather finish this and feel like I've actually accomplished something in a short amount of time, so I can get onto this one and have it done equally in a short amount of time. Fingers crossed. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, here's where I am, and you can see I already have another stitch marker on here holding a dropped stitch. I don't know what it is with me with this pattern. I think it's because I'm knitting with black yarn that I'm not seeing when I drop a stitch. So I don't know what that's about, but anyway, I have a lot of work ahead of me still, even after I've knit both sleeves, because I have to pick up the stitches along either side of the steeking column, knit the button bands, and then actually steek the cardigan. And I'm hoping I can get this done, pipe dreams, by next Wednesday. Finished, totally complete. And that means I have to block off everything this weekend. I'm not doing anything but knitting on this puppy. Every year I keep saying I'm gonna have a Rhinebeck sweater, and it never happens. This might be the year. I have a good feeling this might be the year that I actually have a legit Rhinebeck sweater. So yeah. So here's where I am with it. It's a beautiful pattern. The yarn is Jameson Spindrift, which is a lovely 100% fingering weight Shetland wool. It's gonna be so nice to finish this so I can wear it. Speaking of which, Jameson's, I was watching I was watching the Fruity Knitting podcast, and they had just done an episode on Shetland Wool Week, which I'm so jealous. I really, really want to go to that one year. But they did a really great episode where they interviewed Hazel, I believe her name is Hazel Tyndall, which is like she's the world's fastest knitter, according to Guinness Book World of Records. But it's, yeah, the whole episode was just really wonderful. And they actually did a tour of the Jameson mill out in Shetland, and oh my gosh, you guys, you have to check out this episode. It was great. So anyway, really awesome to see where this yarn came from. I'm like, wow, I'm knitting yarn that actually came from there. So anyway, that is my Rhinebeck sweater. Hopefully it will be an actual Rhinebeck sweater, and if not, I have a shawl. I have plenty of shawls to step in and substitute. But anyway, hoping to get this done. Well, speaking of cardigans, what I'm wearing is actually the featherweight cardigan, and I knit this about maybe 2 years ago, and it's dyed on a base that I no longer dye anymore, but it's my Halo alpaca base and Gashly crumb. And yeah, I have been getting so much wear out of this cardigan. I think it's time for me to knit a second one because it's starting to pill a little bit, but I feel like this cardigan goes with so much of my wardrobe that I wear it a lot. And clearly, as you can see, it's sweater weather. So it's been getting a lot of wear these past few weeks. But anyway, in case you're curious, featherweight cardigan by Hannah Fettig in my hand-dyed yarn. But anyway, yeah. We have a sock on the go. I have a sock. Nothing really to write home about from what I showed you last week, but I turned the heel. I banged this out on a car ride while driving up to visit my parents for dinner. This is trekking. The yarn is trekking, and it has this really cool marled effect to it. And yeah, it's just a really fun sock to knit on intermittently when I can't really put too much focus on my cardigan. So otherwise, I've just been knitting on the cardigan and working on this when I can't pay attention to it. So yeah. And speaking of marled, I totally forgot to mention this again last week, but Laura from the Dyer's Notebook and Jinx Yarns and I are co-hosting our second annual knit along, and we are both knitting, or she was knitting, but yeah, she finished hers several weeks ago and I'm still working on mine, but we are co-hosting a knit along for the Marled Magic Shawl, a awesome pattern by Stephen West. And yeah, there's still time to join in. It seems like if you're a monogamous knitter, it seems like a fairly easy pattern to knit up until, I believe it ends October 1st. Correct me if I will correct myself in the down bar if I am wrong about that. But I believe the deadline for that ends November 1st. So, you know, jump on board. There's still time. I sadly probably will not make the deadline, but once my cardigan is off the needles, I'm gonna go full steam with that project because I really want a Marled Magic Shawl. When I do work on it, I enjoy it, but yeah, right now, Rhinebeck sweater is a priority. Regardless, I've been having so much fun keeping up with everyone else's Marled Magics that you've been posting in the Ravelry thread. I apologize, I have not had time to actually go in and comment on all of your projects, but please know that I do stop in and pop in and scroll through, and I see all of your lovely projects, and I do love when I read something on in the thread, I do tick the little love tab at the bottom of every entry, so just to let you know that I have seen it, even though it's kind of hard to tell that it was me that ticked that. But anyway, yeah. All right, let me see. Is there anything else that I wanted to say about the Marled Magic Cowl? I think that is it. But yeah, again, falling behind on my own cowl that I'm co-hosting with Laura. Hers is beautiful. Go check out her podcast, The Dyer's Notebook. Hers is absolutely amazing. So, you know, I have motivation once I'm ready to knit on it again. Because anyway, all right. Sorry, I just had to collect my thoughts for a second. I actually did cast on something else. Yeah, but I cast on a hat. I cast it on. This is some yarn that I purchased from Do You Knit at my last trunk show there. This is, if you cannot guess, it is hedgehog fibers on their chubby base, which is a really super chunky merino. I believe it's merino. Let me see, I got another skein, but it's, yeah, hedgehog fibers chubby, and it's 100% merino wool single. But the cool thing about this yarn is that, I don't know if you can see, there's some, when it's there's some black yarn plied into it. So it has this, like, while it's not dyed black, it's black yarn plied into the wool, and it has this really cool, awesome effect that happens when you knit it up. So yeah, and this is, believe it or not, the name of this colorway is called Oracle. I designed the Oracle shawl, and I'm knitting with yarn that's called Oracle. But anyway, I had no idea when I purchased I just saw the yarn, I was like, oh, that's so cool, and then I realized, oh, coincidence, Oracle. Anyway, so yeah, I was browsing Ravelry. I was actually staring at the yarn on my desk, and I was like, all right, I gotta plan ahead. Let's plan ahead and see what I can actually knit with this. And I was browsing through Ravelry, and I noticed that there aren't many patterns that are knit with this yarn or designed with this yarn. I know Hedgehog Fibers just came out with a chunky hat pattern for this, which is really cool. It's kind of like a color blocking effect, but I was looking for something a little more interesting, and I noticed Lavagna Patricella had actually designed a chubby brioche hat using this yarn, and I was like, perfect. So I could not help casting on, but then I noticed that it requires 2 skeins of yarn, so I had to panic order another skein of yarn. Yeah, so I have the second skein, so we're all good, and I just really couldn't help casting it on, so I did. And again, it's like a quickie project that I can work on intermittently. Again, had I not been working on the cardigan, I would probably have this finished already. So here's what I have so far. I have mostly been knitting on this while talking on the phone, calling family up, wishing them happy birthday, and then chatting for a little bit and working on this hat. And the needles that I'm using are my Lykke interchangeables, US size 10, 8, is it 8 or 6? 6 millimeter. So US size 10, 6 millimeter needles on a 16-inch cable, which is perfect for knitting a hat in the round especially. So yeah, what did I want to say about this? Okay, so when I cast it on, it was a little fiddly as far as knitting in the round, but once I had the brioche going, the stitches just kind of like loosened up a little bit, and I had a lot of give, so it's easier to knit in the round actually. But yeah, it's a one color brioche pattern, but I'm sure you could totally, you could definitely modify the pattern for it to be 2 color brioche, but the pattern is just for a single color brioche, and it's just been really, really nice and relaxing to work on, and pretty mindless to work on while, you know, chatting with friends and family. So, you know, anyway, here's where I am with that. And I have a pom-pom that I also got from D-Unit. It's this really awesome black fluffy pom-pom. So that's gonna go on here, and it's just gonna be a really cozy winter hat that I can just chuck on and be toasty. And it actually matches my skull bag. Look at that, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, this is a project bag that I whipped up for myself. So it's my Halloween bag, and yes, so that is it for whips this week. I promise I did not cast anything else on, although there are many projects that I really want to cast on at the moment. I know Andrea Mowry just released her fade cardigan pattern, and I will be totally honest, I would like, after knitting the Find Your Fade, or not completing the Find Your Fade, I definitely lost steam on that pattern. Not just because of the size of the shawl, or you know, I really wasn't in love with the fade that I had put together for myself. And after, I think I got halfway through that pattern and I still have it on the needles, I'm not in love with the fade that I found for myself. So I have a couple of other colorways in my stash that I kind of put together. So if I feel like revisiting that pattern, I might do it. But ever since, I really haven't been on a fade kick, if that makes any sense. I don't know, I really haven't found any patterns that really spoke to me as far as like wanting to knit a fade. But she just released, I'll try and pop a photo of it in here, but I fell in love with it. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to knit that. So yeah, that's a cardigan that I want to knit immediately, and thankfully it calls for DK weight, and I don't really have too much DK in my stash or yarn that I can dye up at the moment for DK weight. I'm not going to get any more DK base in until after Rhinebeck, so I'm safe. I don't have to worry about casting that on. And then there's the Sunset Highway pullover that I want to cast on. So yeah, I'm really doing a good job of resisting casting on all the things right now. So I know that I went through a spurt a couple weeks ago where I just cast on all the things, And yeah, oh yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to share with you, because I did knit on this a little bit. My Amulet Shawl by Helen Stewart, that got some love this weekend. I remember last week I said that I was going to take a little bit of a breather or a palette cleanser from knitting on the Damiaka Lopa. So I picked up my Amulet Shawl by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade, and not a significant dent in it, but I'm on the last section of the shawl, which is a really beautiful lace section. So here's where I am on that. And again, this is my hand-dyed yarn in on the Blitz base in my Mooncusser colorway, which is last year's Halloween colorway, and then a new colorway that I dyed up called Plume. So there's that, and yeah, I'm almost done with it. Whether I will have a pretty good idea of whether or not I will be able to finish my cardigan, I want to say maybe by Tuesday, and if it's looking bleak that I'm not going to finish it, I'm going to try to finish this and have it as a Rhinebeck shawl. Yeah, so we'll see. Sewing, no finished objects to share with you. I did not make this dress, if you're wondering, although it does look like a lady skater dress. It's actually very close to a lady skater dress, patterned by Kitchiku, which I've sewn I think about 3 versions of. I definitely want to I definitely want to sew a lot more versions of it, because clearly, if you've been following Vlogtober, I live in these types of dresses. They're so easy to just chuck on, and they go with a pair of leggings. They pretty much go with everything. But no, I got this one from H&M, and since learning to sew, I noticed that the construction of this dress in particular is not very good, and I will show you something that I noticed like a while back. But the seam along the waistline, first of all, it's super high, and it's not even in a straight line. I mean, although this matches up, but it's definitely like a wonky seam that whoever made this, yeah, that's mass production for you. But anyway, I noticed the details now. Go figure. But yeah, I do love this dress, and I love the shape of it, and definitely want to make more lady skater dresses. It's just my go-to jersey fabric pattern that I go to. So definitely see more of those in my future. And I, of course, will post a link to that and everything else that I chat about in this episode over in show notes, which you can find over at www.yarngasmpodcast.com. So anyway, I always forget to mention that at the top of the episode, but that's where you can find the podcast show notes. But I do have something on the go. As you might recall, I really want to sew. Let me see if I can find the pattern. Here we go. All right, here we go. So I really want to sew the Violet Top, which is another pattern by Colette, and I want to make this version. So it's a basic blouse. I love the way blouse sounds better. I know people in the UK always call it a blouse, and I think that sounds so much nicer than blouse. Anyway, it's a typical blouse with a Peter Pan collar and buttons down the front. So it's a little out of my comfort zone. I'm not really a person, I generally don't gravitate towards button-down garments, but I don't know, I just find this really cute, and I have some Liberty fabric that I want to make it out of, but before I cut into the Liberty fabric, I'm making a muslin. I'm not done with the muslin, but I have started it. So this is some fabric that I had in my stash. It's 100% cotton. Didn't really have enough to make anything substantial with it, so here is the back. It has like this little gathered seam right here, I don't know if you can see that. And yeah, I attached the Peter Pan collar, and I actually ran out of fabric, matching fabric, so the bottom has kind of like a contrasting effect going on there. So I don't even know, this is definitely not going to be something that I end up wearing, just because A, it's cotton, it's a little stiff, and secondly, it's a little billowy. So I made the smallest size, which is a size 0, but it still has quite a bit of ease in it. So I'm definitely going to have to take it in to some extent, and thankfully there are a bunch of tutorials online, or sew-alongs, or sewing blogs by people who have made this pattern that have, you know, said what they have done to take it in. I still have to sew in the sleeves, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, we'll see where I get with that. But as far as my Halloween costume, if you are not familiar, I am making my own Halloween costume this year. I'm going as Farah from A Court of Thorns and Roses. So as I mentioned, I'm doing Indie Untangled on Friday, and then I'm going to the festival on Saturday. And I'm only doing Saturday, so I'll be home on Sunday, the whole day. And I think that's when I will start working on my Halloween costume, because we have a party to go to. Our neighbors next door are supposedly having a really awesome Halloween party. So I'm gonna go all out and dress up and make my own Halloween costume. So anyway, yeah, I'll get that started on Sunday and, you know, keep you posted. So yeah, definitely tune into Vlogtober if you want to keep up with progress or, you know, in-action progress on my Halloween costume. But yeah, what else did I want to say? Oh, the fabric that I purchased that I showed off last week. I am actually returning the black fabric that I showed off. It was solid black crepe fabric, but you could see through it a little bit. I decided that was just a little too see-through-y for me, so I'm going to return it. I ordered some broadcloth, so just plain black broadcloth, and that is going to be the underlining. And then I got some organza to go. Not organza, it's like a very sheer kind of, I really don't know what type of fabric I got for the top, but it's definitely going to be some kind of like see-through-y kind of sheer stretchy fabric to go on top of that. So anyway, it's all coming together. It's just a matter of me making a muslin at this point for the bodice and whatnot. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling on that, but yay, Halloween costume, it's happening, and cannot wait to get started. All right, so I'm gonna move along to Ask Away, which is a thread in the YarnGasm Ravelry group where you can ask questions about the podcast, about me, about knitting, spinning, whatever questions you have about pretty much anything in general within reason. Yeah, that's the place to ask it. And generally I like to pull out questions to answer on the podcast or just answer right there in the thread. So I pulled 2 questions this week, and the first question is from Ragdoll Girl. And she says, or wants to know, how weird is it to knit with both applied and singles yarn in a shawl? So basically, how weird is it to knit with applied yarn and a single ply yarn in the same project? She says, I buy colors I'm drawn to, which is sometimes only available in that particular base. So I buy it anyway. And I'm totally guilty of doing this as well, but I will say if you're knitting a shawl, generally speaking, gauge is not usually an issue. So that's a single plied yarn, that they're not even plied together, it's just a single twist. And then you have a plied yarn, which usually has 2 or more twists to the strand. So knitting with those will definitely give you a different texture depending on the fiber content. It's really up to you, depending on whether or not you want multi-textures in your shawl, or you can definitely get some really cool effects. So, you know, if you're knitting with so like my Blitz base, so to speak, that has like some gold stellina in it, and you knit that with a single plied yarn, you're gonna get a really cool effect. So you won't get like that shock of glitter. You'll just get kind of like a subtle sparkle, if that makes any sense. But then also in contrast with like a really soft kind of yarn. I know a lot of people do that with Stephen West shawls or fade shawls. You can definitely have a lot of fun experimenting with mixing different bases together. However, I will say if you are knitting a garment such as a sweater, pullover, jumper, cardigan, you will probably want to knit a swatch first. Yeah, as you should with any garment, just to make sure that, you know, because if you knit with different bases, the gauge is definitely going to get thrown off if you're mixing bases together. So just bear that in mind. So I hope that answers your question. And the next question is from Amethyst, and she says, you did a shop update yesterday, meaning the last update that I did, which was a couple weeks ago. But anyway, I'm gonna read it through anyway. She says, you did a shop update yesterday, and I just went to your shop today. I can see what your bases and colorways look like, but I can't see a way to buy your yarn. I looked in the shop tab. Does that mean that you've sold out already? Yes. If you don't see, and if you click shop and you don't see any yarn for sale, that means I've sold out. And lately I have been selling out within, I want to say, it's crazy, 15 minutes after an update goes live. So thank you. Thank you to everybody for buying my yarn. It still blows my mind whenever I sell out that quickly. So it really does mean so much to me. But you know, if you are new to my shop or new to the podcast and are curious about purchasing my yarn, please be aware that yes, generally my shop sells out very quickly once an update goes live. So if you click shop and see that there's a collection there and it's empty, I've sold out. I do my best to update. I keep a bar at the top of the webpage letting you know that I'm sold out or and when the next shop update will be. So just please keep that in mind if you are curious. Anyway, thank you so much for your questions. We definitely have some more questions in that thread, which I'll try and pull from every week. But yeah, anyway. Moving along, obviously I don't have any shop update news for you other than the next update will not be until after Rhinebeck weekend. So I'm aiming to pop any remaining yarns from the Indian Tangled Trunk Show in the shop that Monday, October 23rd, I believe. Yeah, October 23rd, I'm gonna try and pop everything in the shop at 10 a.m. So I will keep you posted on that. I will let you know if that's gonna happen, but if not, the next update will be that Friday, October 29th. The correct information will be in the down bar, but next update will be the Friday after Rhinebeck weekend, so at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So keep an eye out. The best way to find out about shop updates is obviously my website, www.voolenvineyarns.com, and follow me on Instagram because I always post when updates happen on there as well. And Facebook. I'm not very active on Facebook, but I definitely cross-post images and updates from Instagram to Facebook. So keep an eye out on there as well if that's easier for you to follow. So yes, moving along, I'm gonna move along to Blather, which is a segment where I chat about what's been happening in my life. All right, so as far as what's been going on in my life, clearly I've been dyeing a lot of yarn. A lot of prep happening for this trunk show, so I've been dyeing as much yarn as I possibly can without burning out. And I'm feeling a little bit of the burnout, so I'm trying not to go overboard. But yeah, it's going smoothly. It's coming along very nicely, so yay. And I totally forgot to mention this at the top of the episode. I feel so scatterbrained, but anyway, I'm saying it now. Yeah, I will be attending Rhinebeck on Saturday, so if you see me wandering around, please feel free to come up and say hello. I love meeting podcast viewers. It's always really awesome meeting you guys in person. So yes, please do say hello. I will be going to the podcaster meetup, just, you know, popping in to say hello. I don't know how long I'll be staying there, but I will be there around 1 o'clock on the hill. So yeah, come on up, say hello. I would love to meet you. And yeah, so I'm so excited. I am so excited, you guys. I cannot wait. And it's crazy. I feel like this year flew by way too fast. But anyway, really looking forward to it. I hear it's supposed to rain. Which I'm not too thrilled about. And it's supposed to be like in the 70s, so I'm assuming that means humid, which does not really work well for my hair, but anyway, I'm there for the sheep. I'm there for the sheep and the people and the yarn, so you know, eye on the prize. That's what's most important, right? Calligraphy and bullet journaling. Yes, that has also been happening. I showed this off last week. This has become my purple buddy. My little purple buddy has been following me around and I freaking love it, you guys. This is so much fun. It's nothing to write home about yet, but I've been having so much fun organizing myself. It seems to be working for me. I haven't really done any huge calligraphy stuff, but you know, having fun noodling around with the doodles. And yeah, the calligraphy is a lot of fun too. I really don't know where this is all coming from, aside from that I was watching the Kim Smith Happy podcast or her Vlogtober series, and it got me really interested in learning to do like hand lettering and calligraphy, and I just kind of fell down the rabbit hole. And then I forgot where the bujo came in, the bullet journaling aspect of it. I think I was looking up calligraphy. I was looking up calligraphy tutorials on YouTube, and then I had also just watched a bullet journaling tutorial, and the two I saw that like on Pinterest and on YouTube, the two went together. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of a cool dynamic. So I really can't explain the method to my madness of where this is all coming from, but right now they are happening simultaneously, and I'm having fun learning to do both. So Not only did I get myself a bullet journal, but I also, and all my markers are coming out, but I also got, let me see, these Tombow dual brush calligraphy markers. So yeah, this is the gateway drug, you guys. Apparently you can get these in many different colors, but I've just been having fun playing around with lettering and calligraphy, and again, another challenge that I'm having fun diving into. So yeah, I don't know, I showed off a little bit of what I've been doing on my Vlogtober series, so if you're curious, you can go back and check out those episodes. I don't really have anything to show you this week, but so that's pretty much it for my Bujo / calligraphy update. But otherwise, yeah, the dive dungeon is coming together. Just getting some more artwork up, and yeah, I think it's relatively complete. Lara is coming tomorrow. I cannot wait. She's coming in from Texas. She's just making a pit stop in New York City tomorrow, so we're gonna hang out all day. We're gonna try and go to a yarn shop, hang out, have some lunch, knit a little bit, and you know, just maybe I'll vlog about that. Obviously I'll vlog about that, why wouldn't I? So yay, very excited about that. So as far as what I have been watching, Outlander, obviously every Sunday, although I did miss it last Sunday because we were out and Dennis had taken his test, so we spent the day together and we watched a movie together that night. We watched Wonder Woman. I enjoyed it. For some reason I can't get Dennis to watch Outlander. I think he thinks it's a chick flick, and I have to find a way to convince him that it's not just a chick flick. There's so much more to it. There's history, there's action, it's just so much more than just a romance, historical romance saga, if you will. So anyway, I'm trying to get him hooked on it, because last night we started watching The Walking Dead, which I enjoyed. I enjoy it in doses, but we watched 2 episodes back to back, and I'm just like, it's not how I want to spend my Sunday. I don't want to wind down my Sunday night watching zombies and slaughter, and I don't know. I gotta get him hooked on Outlander. Otherwise, I started watching Poldark Season 3. I think I'm like 2 episodes behind, so I have a couple of episodes to binge watch, but yeah, otherwise, that's pretty much it. That's all she wrote, I think, for this week. So I'm gonna try and get another episode. I know I'm being super ambitious here, but I'm gonna try and get another episode out before Rhinebeck. It might not happen just because I'll be down to the wire with trunk show prep, getting my cardigan finished. So this might be the last episode before Rhinebeck. Just a little heads up. But again, if you see me, please come up, say hello, and it would just be so wonderful to meet you. So yay! Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.